it's Carl Hinder, business coach with Salon Help, and this week I'm going to talk to you about value added tax, VAT. Now, let's start with VAT as a problem. If you are a small business and you want to stay small, you want to stay under £85,000 per year, you don't want a lot of money in your life, you don't want to be financially free, financially successful, over that value, you don't want to be a millionaire for sure, then look, you guys carry on and you're staying under that level. Look, that's up to you. You should already know by now, I'll help any size business, whether you're taking £10,000 a year or 10 million, but really I'm the coach that you need if you want to grow. I'm not really the coach that's going to be any use to you if you want to stay small. Happy to do a health check, happy to answer some of your questions, happy to help you out. But look, if you're a business that's looking to grow, and that's got to be over 85,000, if you want to take 200,000, 400,000, 500,000, if you want to open another shop, if you want to expand, if you want to develop, and you want financial freedom, look, that's what I do. I'm from big business. I've had a number of salons myself, all VAT registered. I know what it's like when you're going through that phase. Now, I want to talk to you about that phase, because that phase that's current at 85,000 is really turning away a lot of people, and it's not just our industry. A lot of industries, lots of small businesses, whether they're cafes, whether they're restaurants, hairdressers, barbers, they all get to that level, and then they start thinking, look, if I stay small, I'm gonna save a fortune. You're partly right, but I feel that you're missing such a massive opportunity to get financial freedom for yourself and for your family. So look, if it's £85,000, that's £1,635 a week. See, 85,000 sounds like a lot of money, doesn't it? You know, when you start in a business, you think, oh, I'll take 85,000 this year. Or if the thought of it sounds like you're going to be taking, a fortune. And of course, if you could have £85,000, put it in your pocket and spend it on, whatever it is, racing cars and houses, it wouldn't be too bad at all. But the reality is, £85,000 is probably taking you about £50,000 or £60,000 in costs and wages to actually get there. So you're not getting a lot of money, really. Okay. Certainly, if you're doing everything legally, it's not a lot of money. So when you start in your business and you think 85, you think, wow, what a lot of money. And then you break it down, and I think that's £1,635 a week based on 52 weeks. Well, that's not a lot of money, is it? Maybe £300, £350 a day. Okay, if you're a one-man barbers and you're standing there for £5 an haircut, even £1,635 seems like an absolute fortune. But I'm not talking about you guys. I'm talking about it when you get a 2 staff and 3 staff and 4 staff and 5 staff, then you're going to hit that £85,000 like that. If you've got a spa, a day spa, and you're doing eyelash treatments alone, they're going to be £60. You're going to do 5 of them, £300, 6 on retail on, that's £400 a day, absolutely in your sleep, providing the rest of your business is right. And then there's obviously hair extensions. They could be anything, couldn't they? They could be £200, they could be £500. If you're doing micro pig, that could be £500 a day. So look, and it could be a lot more. If you're a training academy, you could be doing, £5,000 or £10,000 in one day. So I know that it's different for every business, but all businesses have to go through that threshold. Now, the bit I don't quite get at the moment is this. When you start your business, you should be starting with a plan. And I know, I do get it, don't I? I'm just teasing you, really. You're not starting with a plan. Do you know what I see on the forums all the time? People actually saying, I'm taking over a salon tomorrow, yeah? What colour do you think I should get? Oh, I'm taking over a salon tomorrow. What do you think would be the best source for this? Wow, what are you guys doing? If I was opening another salon tomorrow, I would be planning it for the last 6 or 12 months. I'd have everything in place. I'd have my staffing in place, my training manual in place. I'd have my contracts ready. I'd have all the stock ready. I'd have my bank charges ready, my right accountant. I'd have my marketing plan. My marketing plan would look like something from NASA. Okay? I would be expecting to be 50% full in my first week. I'd expect to be 100% full within a couple of months. I wouldn't be growing organically. So I know why you're getting to the VAT, and I'm in a bit of a shock. Oh God, my accountant's just phoned me and told me that I'm over the threshold, or I'm coming up to it in the next few weeks. God, what am I going to do? And that's because you are not planning, you're not prepared. Okay, so if you don't know what to do, or if you know someone's about to open a business, look, go and help them. There's loads of free help out there. I'm not helping with free business plans. It takes too much time and too much work. If you want a course before you even open, I'm happy to help. But there's plenty of free help out there from local government, from the bank, that sort of stuff that'll help with a plan. If you want me, of course, I'll help you. You know I'll always help. Now, the first thing is you haven't got a plan. So day one you're opening, and I know why, you're all excited and you just want to get down to whatever it is you're fantastic at. Maybe you're a nail technician. I just want to get in there. I just want to feel, I want to sense that money. I just want the feeling of running my own business. I just want the kudos of being a business owner. But you know, that's going to soon wear off. You know, a few months in, when you've worked 10, 12, 15 hours a day and the bills start coming in, you're going to wish you'd done that plan. So this is where I want you to go. You need, if you haven't got a plan already, you need a plan. Okay, you need a business plan. You need to decide where you're going to go with this business and over what time period. And don't go for the organic option that everyone tells you to go for, because organic can be slow. And you know, if you go so slow that you're waiting for customers, you're waiting for word of mouth, sometimes you can actually be going backwards while you're waiting. You know, if inflation takes over and minimum wage takes over and, I don't know, maybe legislation for a VAT or something like that takes over, you could be going backwards quicker than you're going forwards. So, plan. So when you're opening your shop, you need to know, look, I'm going to be at 85,000 in 6 months. And if you are one of those people, you think, well, I really want 2 or 3 people to start this business with. I'm going to be at 85,000 in 2 months or 3 months or 4 months. Build the VAT cost into your price day one, okay? Just build it in straight away. Whatever price you come up with based on your cost, based on your forecast profits, build it in straight away. Just add 20% on. Because that might make you feel as if you're not competitive, but you're not going to be competitive in 6 months' time, and then it's a whole new hurdle. You've now got all these customers that you've got to explain it to, and I know what you're like as well. You're going to be out there apologising. Oh, I'm awful sorry, we've got to put our prices up by 20%. Okay? You don't want to be apologising. You know from day one you're going to be at 85 pretty damn soon. Now, let's say you've got all excited, you've opened this business, you didn't do the plan, as lots and lots of people don't. You just dived in there and you're going to use the I'm going to work hard ethos. Great. Keep working, because you're going to have to work even harder now to make sure you overcome this barrier. But you can check. Just look over your last few weeks. You know what I mean? If you think, oh, I'm not taking much money, and you're taking in the last few weeks £1,700, £1,800, £1,900, okay, 2,000, trust me, that VAT barrier, that VAT threshold is racing towards you. Don't race towards it thinking, when I get there, I'll sort it out. When I get there, I'll speak to the accountant. They'll give me some advice. Because I can tell you, when the accountant phones you, it's too late, because you probably already got some backlog of VAT. You're going to register. You're going to be hit with a bill before you even got time to think. If you're heading in this £1,500 to £2,000 a week, you're in the VAT zone. Now's the time to take action. Now's the time to go, first of all, and sort out those prices. You think you can't do it. Now, you might be in a position with the pricing part of it to phase it in. Maybe you've got to put your prices up by 10% for the next 3 months and another 10% after that. Sometimes you can spread the VAT issue across a few issues. So you could actually put your prices up by 10%, introduce new services and that sort of stuff. But I would encourage most of you to be adding that 20% to your prices. And that's still not going to solve your problem. That's only going to take the edge off things for you. But what I want you to do, I want you to think about VAT as not a barrier. Almost think of it as a reward. You know, I've done so well, I'm at that level already. And if I could just keep doing this well, I'm going to double those sales. I'll be at 170,000 in another year, in another 2 years. Think of it as it's just an indicator of how well you're doing. Because the more negative that you become about it, the more you see it as a bill, the more you see it as a cost to your business, the less inclined that you are. Because when your VAT bill comes in, you see, oh, it's another kick, it's another kick. You can't see it like that. You just got to see it as part of your life. Now, in other countries, like go to the USA, they have the sales tax. It's the same thing. You know, it doesn't matter what you buy almost. You can buy a sandwich or lunch or dinner. They just tell you it's $20. And they don't even tell you it's sales tax on top. And by the time you added sales tax to it, and then you've added the tip to it, it's blinking $30 or $40. But it's cultural. They understand nobody moans. Or certainly when I was out there for a few months last year, nobody complained. So you've got to get this plan in place. You've got to know it's coming. Don't just wait for it to come and then get smacked in the face. You've got to take steps for it. If you are part of the group that just wants to stay under 85,000, listen guys, you carry on. I don't know what your ambitions are. I don't know what you and your family want from life. But for the rest of you that want to grow, who want to have big financial freedom, you've got to go through this barrier. So your prices are one of the first things you've got to be sorted out. Now, let's take a look at the next section. Okay, so we now know that if you want financial freedom, you want financial security, you got big financial ambitions, you want to make a lot of money, you want to be a millionaire, then you got to go through this VAT pain threshold, okay? So it's a VAT threshold, but it's obviously a pain threshold when you get to £85,000. If you want to stay small, listen guys, you stay small, you do your thing. I'm just trying to help the people here who want to grow and expand. So if you're looking to grow and expand, you've got to go through this level at some stage. Now, you've got a couple of options. Your first option is the standard rate. So the standard rate is 20%. Basically, that means that everything you take in sales, you pay 20% of it back to the tax man, okay, back to the VAT man. So that's pretty straightforward. But the good thing is, you may be collecting a certain amount of money from your sales, but everything that you've spent on VAT in that quarter or annually, you are going to be able to claim back off it. So let's say out of your sales for a month, you've got to have to pay £1,000 in VAT. But let's say you've also spent £600 on VAT on things for your business, you know, stock, products, retailing, anything, your bills, most of your utilities. You can now claim all that back. And don't forget, you never used to be able to do that before you registered. So there's some benefit coming back to you in terms of VAT registration. So when we talk about adding 20% to our prices, that's actually a bit of inflation in a way, because you actually get to claim some money back. But I always like for us to grow our price and grow our sales. So I always stick with 20% just to keep the maths nice and simple. So yeah, you've got to pay £1,000, you can claim 600 back, therefore you only end up paying £400 in VAT. And it's not paying, the government think of it as you collecting tax for them on their behalf. You're like a tax collector, you're collecting £400 in tax. Now there are ways of making that smaller, and I'm going to talk about that in the third section. You know, I've written a book on retailing, how to sell products. It's called Salon Products, Sell or Die Trying, and retailing is one of your key things, but we'll cover that next. So your first one is your standard 20% rate. You collect 20%, you gather all the VAT that you've paid to someone else, you take one from the other, and you pass that money that's left to the taxman. Okay, straightforward and simple. Now the next option, now this was designed by the government to actually make it simpler and actually reduce your costs, and I think it does this. The next one is 13%. It's a flat rate where you pay 13% of the sale that you collect. It's not quite true yet, but stick with me. So the only benefit that I can really see from this is that it's cheaper to administer. It's cheaper for you or your accountant to actually work out the 13% VAT liability that you have. Therefore, you're going to save some money on your accounts. Okay, it'll depend on your accountant, I guess, and how often you're doing them, but you're going to save some money. Now that was the design, and outside of that, it's a bit more complicated. So you heard me say 20%, or you can go to the flat rate, which is 13%. Okay, first year you're going to get a 1% discount. So you're going to be down to 12%, but for the sake of this, because we know that first year is going to really, really fly, we got to stick with 13%. Wow, that's a 7% saving. But it's not, okay? Sadly, it's just not. Because what you have to do is, if you have a sale of, and this is for VAT calculation, if you have a sale of £1,000 in a week, before you can calculate your 13%, you've got to add 20% VAT to that total value. So it's not £1,000 now, it's actually £1,200. Now you get to take or calculate your 13% of the £1,200. Even though you only ever took 1,000, you've got to do 13% of £1,200. Now that works out essentially at 15.6%. So you might be thinking, well, that's better, Carl. Okay, I'm still, 4.4%. Yeah, 4.4% better off than I am with a flat rate. But now don't forget, you can't claim anything back whatsoever. There's a couple of exceptions, maybe for some capital expenditure, but let's forget that for a minute. On a daily, weekly basis, all the things you're buying now, mine from the warehouse, okay? All the things you want to sell to the public, everything you're going to use in the process of your business, all the nails and eyelashes, all of the colour products, all the retail products, all the new furniture, all the new equipment, you're not going to claim anything back whatsoever. So this might be feeling like 15.6%, but it's probably, depending on how aggressive you are with things like retailing and how busy you are, it's probably pretty much the same at 20%. And that's not a coincidence. Trust me, the government have designed this so that it's actually within pennies. Now, I've seen some documentation that says that it's about a 20p saving. And I do know that from a salon that I worked with recently, we worked out that they saved roughly about 0.6% by going with the flat rate. However, because as a coach I'm there to increase their sales, when we increase their retailing, they're actually much worse off because they can't claim all this VAT back. So you want to really consider, I don't think you're always being told the truth about this flat rate, guys. I think either your accountants are not telling you, or maybe you don't understand, but it's not 13%. Okay, it's 13% of the sales plus your 20%, then 13%. Plus you lose all the sales, all the VAT from all the stuff you've purchased. There's very little in it, and if you're a big, growing, when I say big, I mean serious, ambitious business, I think you're wasting your time. Now that's if they will allow you to join, of course, because on the flat rate scheme, there are some rules and regulations which you need to be aware of. Otherwise, you can be dipping in and out of this and it's going to cause you even more problems. First of all, you've got to be under £150,000 before you can register for the flat rate scheme. Now, if you're at £85,000, that's not going to worry you, but if you've stumbled across this video and you're thinking, wow, I'm at 150, 160, 170, forget it, guys, you're not going to be able to join. So you're not allowed in anyway. Then you've only got a limit of £230,000 and you've got to switch schemes. You've got to leave that scheme and join the standard rate anyway. Look, what I'm saying is, it's okay having this leeway, having this bit of a break, if you like, but you're going to be chopping and changing all the time. You're going to have to tell your customers your prices are going up a couple of times. You're going to have to change your systems 2 or 3 times if you're going to get in on the flat rate, then get out of the flat rate. Okay, gets a bit complicated, but as I said, I'm not an accountant. You must take accountancy advice before making any of these decisions. But I almost always direct my businesses, the ones I work closely with, when I know what their accounts look like and their business models like, towards the standard rate scheme. Because if you're a developing, ambitious business, it's a much better way in the long term. There is also another clause in having a flat rate scheme, and that's that the costs of your sales, okay, must remain above 2%. So that's either 2% annually or £1,000. Now that doesn't sound like much, but when you look into it, you'll find that not everything is involved in that. So you can't add all your retailing in, you can't add in all your utilities. It's very, very selective, and you could find yourself in a situation where your costs are dropping below 2% a year or £1,000, and that could mean something else. That could mean that you have to then jump to 16.5%, okay, flat rate. So look, you're everywhere, guys. You'll be at 13%, which is really 15.6%. You might jump in and out of the cost barrier, which is going to jump you from 15.6 to 16.5. And you can keep monitoring that all the time. It's up to your accountant, but they obviously can only work on the figures that you're giving them. Okay, look, God must have an accountant, guys. You must work closely with them. You're going to have to listen. You're going to have to ask the questions, but don't just go with this flat rate. My opinion on your relationship with your accountant is what they will do is they'll look at what you've done retrospectively when making the decision on whether you should go for the flat rate or the standard rate. And if you need coaching, if you are going to be ambitious, if you're going to take notice of anything I say, then you're going to be growing. So I would probably grow your retail by 4 to 5 times what it is right now. And if your accountant knew that, they would probably give you a different piece of advice. So you can't kind of blame them. If they give you advice and say go flat rate based on you underperforming really, historically on things like retailing, but they're going to give it based on information they have available to them. I'm telling you that in the next section we'll talk a bit more about retailing, and that 20% is a much more effective level to be on. So that's it in terms of percentages. This 15.6%, by the way, represents a £44 saving, if you like, on what you would be paying the taxman until you get opportunity to take everything out of everything you pay. Work it out. I can tell you now, I don't think the flat rate really works for progressive businesses. So in the next section, I'm going to talk to you about how do we get through this barrier? How do we get from 85 to 106 like that as quick as possible, and how do we move through it? You've got to be seeing VAT as a good thing, as a good measure of your performance. You cannot continue to see it as a barrier if you want financial freedom. Look, I'll see you in the next section. So you've taken the next step. You've decided that I'm not staying small. I want financial control. I want financial freedom. I've got to go through this VAT barrier. Okay? There's no other way if you want to be hugely financially successful. So you've decided on the 20% or the 13%. And like I said, I'm not an accountant, but generally speaking, the 20% works better for businesses that I've worked with. Now, what are you going to do about it? Now you just can't sit back and spend the next 5 or 10 years going through all that pain, because I know why people are so anti-VAT. I know why the forums are full of small salons that never want to go past 85,000, and it's because it's so difficult to grow. You've got to go from 85 to 106 just to be as good as you was yesterday. That's awful. But what I was saying to you right at the beginning of this video is you must plan for it. You know it's coming, guys. Don't get to 85 and then go, oh my God, my life is now terrible. What shall I do? Shall I cut back on staffing? Shall I deregister? Just tells me you haven't got a plan. So look, you're going forward. You want to be a 200,000, a 300,000, a 400,000 pound salon, or you're going to have a number of salons or barber shops. You want your spa to be bigger. Whatever it is you're going to do, you've got to go through this level. First one, no brainer, guys. You've got to increase your prices. Make sure you do the full price review at the same time. Loads of my videos on my sites regarding pricing, on my coaching, on my quick coach on a Wednesday night. I talk about pricing every single week. Your prices are probably wrong anyway. If 50 or 60% of the industry is anything to go by, you've got to review them. Whilst you're at it, put up your prices. Now, how much do you put them up by? I'd always put them up by 20%. Now, if you spend long enough sitting down with a calculator, you can probably work it out what that price increase is going to be for you, depending on how much you're going to buy. Because don't forget, this VAT comes off this VAT. But for me, I would just say 20%. I think it's something like about 16, 17% that you need to add on, really. But 20% is what I would add on, because you're going to go through all this difficulty of explaining to your clients that they're going up because of VAT, and people are very good in understanding that. Even if they voice their opposition, they do understand that it's imposed upon you by the government and you must collect this tax. So I would be adding 20% to your price, and if you can add more than that, okay, because don't forget, it doesn't got to be 20% across everything. You've got to work out what's what. Maybe it's 18% on something and 30% on something else. This is your chance to reset your prices that make you a profit, that make you some money, and pay this VAT bill at the same time. And the reason I picked 20% is because it's no point setting them at 17% across the board, because things like inflation are going up. By the time you've actually put them in place, by the time you've rolled it all out and got into the system, inflation's gone up by 2 or 3% anyway. Or the minimum wage has gone up, or something in legislation has changed. So look, smash it. Go for 20%. Go for more if you can do it. Don't be afraid. You've got to go and get these prices per inch. That's the first one. Now, this isn't going to solve your problem. This is just going to take your pain away. This is just going to lower your pain, because it'll give you some other difficulties, because some people will protest and they will go somewhere else. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. You know it. Look, you can prepare now. Now that I've told you they are going to leave, you can prepare. So you can prepare with more value, better marketing, change the way you do things, etc. Which leads me to the second level. First one, get your prices right. Second thing, make sure that you are thinking about introducing new services. And when you're doing that, try and make them high value services. Don't keep introducing small things. I mean, as a business, of course, anything that's an add-on is great for your business. But I'm just talking about trying to smash this VAT pain barrier at the moment. Look for things like micropigmentation, microblading, hair systems for men, wig making for ladies, or hair systems for ladies. Have a look at selling courses. If you've got to retrain your team, if you're good at selling the odd skin treatment, forget it. Your prices are going up. Let's sell courses. Look at memberships for your salons. I know lots of hair salons are getting really good at memberships. Have a look at colour. Have a look at your colour offer. How are you getting on with that? Are you able to trade, 20% of your clients from half heads to full heads? Can you introduce balayage? What can you do that's now bigger, more cost more for the client? So don't battle around down the bottom. You got to be thinking bigger and better. So you're a £40,000 salon today. Maybe you're just working on your own. Well, look, you're going to be at 80 odd thousand in a year's time. Do it. Plan it today. I'm going to introduce these services. I'm going to go on this training course. I'm going to recruit this person. Let's grow into the problem. Let's not shuffle up to it and then go, oh, I can't do it. It's all over and it's terrible, and complain about it for the next 5 years, or for the next however many years, until you deregister and go back to being a 1 or 2 man band. No offense to anyone. Anybody who wants to be a 1 or 2 man operation, you carry on. As I told you before, I'm the coach you want to get hold of if you want to grow your business. Now, the third one, there's lots and lots and lots. I don't want to make this any more complicated. This video is way too long today. The third one, and as you know, is my absolute passion. It's retailing, it's selling products. And this was one of the key reasons that I wrote the book. And there's also an online course. You can train your whole staff. Okay, at the moment, you can train them for £99 each. It's going up after the launch. You can train your whole team how to sell more products. I don't know what you're selling at the moment, but most salons, this book and this course is going to increase your retailing by 3, 4, 5 times of what it is at the moment. I'm not kidding at all. But why do you want to sell more products? Let me give you an example. If you've got a £15 product, that's sitting on the shelf, and I'm not going to argue about pennies here and the odd percentage. Let's do it in basic terms. If you've got a £15 shampoo sat on a shelf, or a wax or something like that, then you probably paid, if it's a branded or a colour house or something, around maybe say £8 or £9. So that means you paid £9 for it, say. Now, out of that £9, you've already paid about £1.80 in VAT. Okay, 20%, £1.80. So you've already paid the £1.80, and then when you sell it, you are going to be collecting £3. Okay. Now, when you take this £1.80 from this £3, your VAT bill is only going to be £1.20. Now, that don't sound like a lot, but stick with me. Don't sound like a lot yet. But imagine this was a service. Now, let's scale this up a bit. If you had a £150 service, let's say, I don't know, hair colour, cut and blow dry, okay? £150. You are going to collect £30 of that and hand it over to the tax man, hand it over to the VAT man, okay? This is not including, electricity, water, that sort. This is just on the service level, because this is also true of the product. But on the product, if you sold £150 worth of products, because of the VAT you've already paid, you're only going to pay £12. Okay, so £150 colour, £30 taxman, £150 in products, I'm only going to give him £12. I'm going to save £18. Every £150, I'm going to save myself £18 for not doing anything. And that's without all the other benefits of retailing, because of course, selling products means that you have no extra staff. So your sales are going to thrive, your profits are going to thrive, your marketing is going to thrive, and your customer service is going to go through the roof selling products. So I don't know if you want any more excuses than that, but now we can jump on the VAT bandwagon. Let me scale that up again for you. If you did £1,500 in haircuts, you are going to hand over £300 to the VAT man. Forget the bills at the moment. £300 is going straight to him or her. If you did £1,500 in retailing with no more staff, don't forget, you're only going to be handing over £120. So I do all this service and I do all this retailing, and I'm going to be £180 better off every time I do £1,500. To me, that is crazy. It's logical. It makes sense. I don't know why you don't want to sell retail, guys. Increases your sales, increase your profit, increase your customer service, and I don't know who doesn't want to increase their customer service. Drives your marketing, drives your customer service, and now it's one of the great things about tackling VAT. And think as big as you want. If you got well-known hair straighteners, at £150, they're going to give you a real draw back on your VAT. Maybe you can sell even more expensive items in your salon. I don't know at what level you're pitching these things in your business. So look, you've taken VAT on as a challenge. I generally recommend the 20% level, but please check with an accountant. You've got to put your prices up, whatever happens. Don't try and do it without, otherwise you're going to be suffering and struggling for the next couple of years. You must look at planning, and you must introduce higher price point services. And finally, you must get to grips with retailing for 100 different reasons. But in this case, because this is a VAT video, because it's going to crush the effect of VAT on your business. Go out there, be positive about growing your business. Don't stay small, don't retract, go and tackle VAT head on. Be positive. I'll catch you next Monday.